nowadays it's not uncommon for someone to say that they've been triggered. And this is something that can happen when someone is online, and it can happen when they're offline. And if they're online, they may have heard something or read something. And if they are offline, they may have smelt something, had a conversation with someone, or seen something, or heard something. And whatever it may be, they will have ended up experiencing a strong reaction inside themselves. And they can end up experiencing a lot of fear and anxiety. They can end up feeling upset. So, because of what has taken place externally, their inner world can basically be all over the place. And they can then end up having the need to control what they've been exposed to, or they can have the need to get away. And this will then be a way for them to try to settle their mind, so their thoughts and their emotions back down again. And in today's world, because of the crackdown on free speech and trying to control what people can say and can't say, someone may try to control what someone has said. So they may try to have them banned if they're online, or they may try to label them if they are in the real world. So they will be trying to change their environment in order to try to settle back down. And when they do this, it is only going to stop them from being triggered. But there's a strong chance then that what was triggered won't be dealt with. And it's because if someone is triggered, it can show that an inner wound has been brought up. It's been exposed. So it's a bit like having a bandage on a wound. And the trigger will basically have cut the bandage open and exposed the wound. So changing what is going on out there, so removing the knife that cut the bandage, will stop this wound from being exposed. But it won't actually deal with the wound. So another way for someone to respond when they are triggered, and they could respond in this way if they are into self-development and are not really pulled into the political realm. They can end up looking into what is going on. Because what they may find is that what has been triggered goes back to something that they experienced during their childhood years. And while it may seem as though there is no point in facing this wound and getting in touch with it and finding out what it's all about, through doing this, through facing this wound and healing this wound, someone can become a more integrated human being. And this is because when they did experience a wound, part of them will have ended up being split off or cut off, part of their being. And this will mean that they won't have been able to operate from that point on as a whole human being. Part of them will have been split off, and so they won't be able to fully show up, to be fully present. And so through embracing this wound, through working through the emotional pain and the trauma, someone can reintegrate a part of their own being. And through doing this, they can become more whole and complete, and their presence can grow. But of course, if someone just tries to cover it up or tries to change what is going on externally, this part of their own being is going to continue to be hidden from themselves. And this is then not going to be possible for them to evolve, because changing what is going on externally is the easy option, but then it can stop them from being able to embrace life, to face it, and they can become smaller instead of bigger. So through facing the wounds within them, it can allow them to grow, to move forward, and to no longer live in fear, to become more resilient. And of course, if there is a wound that is very deep, then it's probably going to be too much for them to heal this wound by themselves. They'll probably just end up being overwhelmed and shutting down. And what this means is that they will need to reach out for external support. And through working with a therapist or a healer, or reaching out for the support of a support group, they will be able to have the external support, so the external scaffolding will be there while they build up their own strength. So they will go where they wouldn't have gone by themselves. And this can then allow them to become a more integrated human being, to grow, as I said, to expand, and to no longer shrink and to avoid life, to avoid certain things, because this is not going to allow them to feel strong and powerful. So if someone can relate to this and they want to grow, not to grow smaller, then they may need to reach out for external support